Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. Taking time out of your busy summers for coming and join us at the board meeting tonight. We're going to start out the invocation pledge with Ms. Bramlett.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the many blessings that you've given us. Lord, we thank you so much for the privilege to meet here tonight and for the privilege to serve the wonderful students and staff of this county. God, we ask that everything that's done here tonight be pleasing unto you, Father, and that we as community servants do your will above our own. God, we ask that tonight that you touch our friend and our colleague, Mr. Ricky Bailey, and that you give him a special touch as he is not feeling well. God, we ask again that tonight everything that be done under your will. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bramlett. Thanks for thinking about Mr. Bailey. He's going through some tough health times, so we all pray that he gets better. First off, I'd like to motion to approve the minutes from our June 7th meeting.
So moved. Second.
We had Ms. Stevens and Ms. Maloof. All in favor? Okay. I also need a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Kelly and Ms. Stevens, all in favor? Okay. I don't believe we have any committee reports today. Dr. McMichael, you have a recognition?
We do actually. And before we get started with that, I just wanted to state how, it's hard to believe that we're already here at the first day of school. It's just really a couple weeks away. Let y'all know that the team is working hard. Students and families prepare for August 2nd. I think I forwarded it to y'all also. A district email it was sent to all families and staff on June 30th. Information on our open houses, school supply lists, kindergarten, and new student enrollment. And we'll continue to communicate with families on that and leading up to school. And we're ready to get back to bowl. And I think we're set for a very good year and hopefully back to normal. Man, as far so we say a prayer for that also. And I do have one recognition. I'd like to call a couple of folks forward for. I could get Ms. Houston and Ms. Pam, Lance, McNamara. I'm sorry, not Lance, McNamara. It's been one of those days today. Very, very pleased to announce, it's not a surprise, but it's always a good thing to have and know about. The Georgia Department of Audits and Accounts has conferred upon the Barrow County Board of Education for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021, the award of distinction for excellence in financial reporting. This goes towards another perfect audit. And this is what, about our fourth time, I believe. Yeah. And these are not handed out very much. I want to make a point of that. These are very stringent, and you have to basically have a completely clean and error-free, no questions asked audit. So congratulations and thank you all again. As you know, that's one of the board's main things. That's one of the main things that they're in charge of. And having these two folks in charge of this, and Pam does a great job, and Jennifer does a fantastic job with that and everything else that goes along to support that. So very proud of both of you, and thank you so much. I know it's a lot of hard work to pull that off. Not everybody can do it. So, thank you.
Thank you both. Well-deserved award. Yes, sir. There's a lot of work goes into that. We appreciate it. Okay, we have no other visitors to recognize tonight, and we do have one request to appear before the board. Mr. Keeber, pronouncing that right?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Make sure these get passed through.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The reason that I'm appearing before you is just to discuss some of the concerns I have with the Character Strong program, and also to kind of get a feeling for what the board's decision-making process is and what your planning is in regard to a couple of items that I'm concerned with for my children's education. Specific to Character Strong, I spoke to both my mother and stepmother. Between the two of them, they have over 50 years of education experience. I let them take a look at the information I was able to get from Character Strong's website, and it was enough to make them both recoil. They shared some of the concerns, and I leaned on their expertise in my notes. I noticed that the social, emotional, and learning education that's affiliated with this is apparently nationwide, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. The Spanish material, I think, is a wonderful plus. This appears to be a very well fleshed out program with very good production quality from the samples I got to see. Some of the current concerns that I have is the parental access to the information that they're teaching us. I spent hours on the website and I'm locked behind paywalls. I'm able to request some sample information that's very limited. So I can't really audit what our children are going to be exposed to, just a few slides here and there, and then every page seems to have the cost associated that's going to be passed on to the taxpayers. So the limitation I find concerning in that transparency does not exist with this particular company the county wants to do business with. The site is packed with buzzwords and limited explanation of what's actually going on. It reads much like a tech website that's trying to sell you something. The example lessons requires personal information from people. The more information they want to gather from me just to see what they're showing my children raises the red flag even higher for me. Not accusing them of any wrongdoing, I'm just expressing my concern with some of these companies that want a little too much information, that they're not willing to share their information with parents. The site is just rife with the phrase backed by research, but in my college education, all of my professors told me, if you don't cite your sources, you're going to fail this. There's no sources cited on the website. I can't find any of the research. I can't find the body that conducted the research. I can't find any of the information that they keep telling me to rest assured that they have and that they've considered. I can't find any links to any of the study or any of the bodies that conduct the research. And my concern is there's been many things in the history of our country that were bad ideas, but it was backed by research at the time, but no one was auditing it. So that just puts even more red flags in the air. I have no way to verify any of this, any of these claims, because they don't provide me the information that I would need to do so. Some of the items that I've given to you guys, just for reference, is something off of the Character Strong website, references like YMTSS. The only point of that is just to point out that they really want you to understand the social and emotional component, and they really want to convey that they're concerned with equity. And equity seems harmless until, say, you live in Gwinnett County, and suddenly equity has become a phrase that has been reused. Sorry, it's basically been redefined to use as a club to batter your opposition. Equity is not being used in the way it's defined. It's being used by postmodernists to require people equity of outcome instead of equity of opportunity. So the more I see the word equity pop up on this website, the more I get concerned. And again, I can't dive into any of the research. I can't find out who these people are that are running the company besides the blurb on their website and what they have in their LinkedIn profiles and their Twitter profiles, which have been pretty well scrubbed. So the more I dig into this, the more concern I start to generate. Again, I can't make any accusations of wrongdoing, but definitely they're tightening the vice on information coming out of their company. I know that in many parts of this country, every state, they like to tell you that they're using this particular piece of software. My concern is if this is being used in California, New York, DC, LA, is this going to fit properly with our county? Will this meet the students' needs, or is this just a countrywide cookie cutter approach that we're going to embrace? And my other concern is with that particular approach, the lack of control from the teachers. I'm curious, why are we paying a company to do something that I'm fully confident that all of our teachers can already come up with their own lesson plans to address these things? But we're paying a company many thousands of dollars, I have to guess, because again, every piece of this cookie cutter system they have, you want to send a teacher out to come and get education with us, that's like $6,000, several $1,000s a year, renewal fees. You want to buy the book, here's a course, send all your teachers to us, that'll be several $1,000s a person. I'm more confident in our educator within Barrow County's ability to come up with something that's more in tune with what the students actually need for their emotional well-being and their emotional development than some company based out of Texas or people who were in California or other parts of the country. I would like to see a narrowed scope and us to trust our educators more than some outside company. Again, I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. I'm not saying this isn't a useful program. I'm just curious why we're spending taxpayer money to do something that our educators should be perfectly well adapted to do. And beyond that, I was going to address the gender identity policy of the county, but I was provided with law. So I'm going to review that. And if I find anything, I'll probably come back and speak with everyone next month. My other concern is with the ongoing culture war, things are getting within the blast radius of the county that concern me. We're having equity taking over Gwinnett County specifically. When I go to do research on what exactly the county's doing, because my stepmother retired from that county after over 35 years of service, I'm able to find your peers several miles away from us dancing in fairy wings and flailing flags with social justice. Again, I can't accuse anything awful of taking place. However, I'm not comfortable with people who are ideologically driven to that extent in contact with my children. Basically, the final questions I was trying to answer when I addressed you, ladies and gentlemen, was what mechanisms does the board have in place to ensure the programs discussed this evening stay within the educational confines that we parents want our children exposed to? What's going to be provided to parents who want to stay informed of these programs, policies, and laws as they apply to our children's education, even if we want granular details that most parents wouldn't be concerned with? How can parents have their children opt out of educational programs we may have a political, ideological, or more to our family's concern, a religious objection to? How can parents have their children opt out of SEL lessons specifically, or programs they'd be exposed to specifically for SEL? And does participating in these educational programs reflect good stewardship of the taxpayers' money when all of our educators are gifted? They don't need another company coming in and giving them all this information that's already chewing into what little time they have to learn all of their arithmetic, reading, and writing skills. And I think we're already taxed with our test scores and trying to get our test scores up. And now we're injecting either one-a-day plan for the SEL lessons or once a week. Again, the website isn't clear. I'm not sure exactly how we're deploying this, and I don't have any mechanism to find out, which I find concerning.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Keeper. We will point well taken. Thanks for your due diligence, and
very good. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Keeper, would you see me after the meeting, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Green. Okay. Ms. Houston.
Good evening. We have our normal sales tax report that I give to you every month. Last month's sales tax was at $1,686,730.90. And that was up 19% from the previous year, 49% from 60% from 19, 75% 18, and 86% from 2017. So we are still really thankful that our residents are buying in Barrow County. All right, we're not doing a general fund report this year or this month because we don't do June, because there's so many accruals and adjustments at the end of the year that if I present something, it's not going to be what's on the final audit. So we don't present June to you guys because it's going to change so much. But we are going to go over the other funds, revenues and expenditures for the month of May, because we run a month behind on those. So the special revenue fund, the year-to-date revenues were $36.4 million. The year-to-date expenditures, $30.8 million. For our capital projects funds, our year-to-date revenue, $28 million. Our year-to-date expenditures, $36.7 million. So we have a lot of renovations going on right now. Our debt service fund, our year-to-date revenues, $18.2 million, and our year-to-date expenditures, $15.3 million. And that's all I have tonight. Any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Pearl? And Dr. Moten is not here, but she does not have anything to report. Okay. Ms. Beggs? Okay, we'll talk to you in a little while. I don't think we have anything to clarify, no new business tonight or old business to revisit. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. First off, we had policy revision, JBD absences and excuses. The superintendent recommends removing policy JBD absences and excuses from public review and approving said policy. We have the school food nutrition food bid. The superintendent recommends the acceptance of Gold Star Foods as the food vendor for Barrow County Schools for the 22-23 school year. Total cost $3.5 million with an option to renew for the next 3 years. We have new policy IKBB, Divisive Concepts Complaint Resolution Process. The superintendent recommends placing policy IKBB, Divisive Concepts Complaint Resolution Process, on the table for public review until the next scheduled meeting of the Board of Education. And new policy JRB, Parents' Bill of Rights. The superintendent recommends placing policy JRB, Parents' Bill of Rights, on the table for public review until the next scheduled meeting of the Board of Education. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Ms. Kelly and Mr. Lumpkin.
Discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
Did we get a clarification on the total cost up to $3.5 million with the options to renew for 3 years at the same price? Or is this negotiable? I think I had asked about that at the last meeting.
I thought we discussed that they wouldn't lock that in, right?
We didn't actually get a determination on that, I don't believe.
Yeah, they have the option, they can, the prices can go up or down.
So this is basically just for the upcoming year, and after that they can still negotiate.
Yes.
Are we locked into a 3-year contract with them?
No, options to renew.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. We had a motion and we had a second. All in favor? Okay. Need a motion to approve the authorization for committees to meet. We have the Clean School. Ms. Bramlett, you'll be managing that this month. Teacher of the Year will be coming up again. Buildings and Grounds, Compensation. We'll be meeting in a week. And then School Lunch Committee. Get a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Ms. Kelly and Ms. Stevens, all in favor? That being said, we're going to move into executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or ratings of a public officer or employee, or to interview applicants for the position of superintendent.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you, everybody. We will be back.